Hello and welcome to the Global AI Podcast. We are coming to you from the second Global AI Summit emanating from Riyadh, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And today we have the president of Kaost, Professor Tony Chan. Thank you very much for being with us. Professor, since this summit has started, what are your expectations from the second Global AI Summit?
I missed the first one, but the name is the Global AI Summit. So I expect to meet a lot of people, AI experts from around the world. And this morning, I've seen many of them. People from Europe, from America, from China, from universities, from private companies. Huawei, SenseTime, they were all here. So one is through them, you learn about what the advances in AI is. But more than that is what implication it will have for business, for humanity. How we're going to live, it will affect our lives. And it also gives us, like Kaost, a chance to tell other people what we do, but also for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to tell the rest of the world that is really serious and making a big investment in AI, is part of the Vision 2030, investment in technology, human capital development, all that. So everything come together.
All right. And, so the summit is focusing on how artificial intelligence can enable and help humanity. Where do you believe the importance of artificial intelligence and how can it help the current challenges we have in the world today?
Manifold. So I used to say, right? AI is the new math.
Okay.
So, we in school, we teach our student math, not because we want every one of them to be mathematicians, because mathematics will help to do many, many other things. There are many applications that help you think. So AI is similar. So AI is a technology in itself. So you can have a company in AI, but it's also an enabler of other things. So you heard about AI already do facial recognition.
Okay.
In autonomous driving. Okay, in running your business, it helps the business to get to know the customers. They know the customers better than the customer know themselves through their action. So it's already changing that. But I want to emphasize one point.
What is
it's not as popular. That is, AI also affects the other areas of science and technology.
Okay, how so?
Yeah, so there are many folks, right? One, you can see data. It's the new oil. I'm talking about that in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And AI is the technology of data.
Okay.
That's really true. So whenever you have data, big data, large amount of data, that's when AI can help play a role to optimize. Think of it as optimization.
Okay.
So facial recognition is a good example, because with this phone, you have so many pictures of faces, and now they can recognize. Okay. But you think about it. Think about Saudi Aramco.
Okay.
Saudi Aramco has a lot of data about its business. Oil field. SABIC has about data about chemicals. So if they make good use of these data, which are proprietary very often, but if they combine it with AI, it will help them to optimize their business. Okay, so that's already in a lot of business is already transforming the business. So finally, to about human, it affects our lives. You're a smartphone, right? You can talk to it. Okay.
All right.
It reminds you of everything. It actually knows you better than you do. Google knows us better than we do. I go on Google, it knows what I'm interested in.
Okay.
And so on. It's a little scary, actually, when you think about it. Okay. But that's the way it is. That's the way, and it's not new. If you think about AI as like the fourth or the fifth industrial revolution, if you think about it that way.
Okay.
Well, the first industrial revolution was the steam engine.
Okay.
Right? It replaced human muscles. Okay. I'm sure people back then were saying, well, it will put human out of business. Right? Because most humans earn their living by human muscle. Well, it has not. And I think AI has that potential. It will make human into more efficient, make them enjoy their life better. Because the more mundane things, it will help them enjoy their life. I hope, and I don't think AI will replace humans.
Okay.
And a lot of people are afraid of that. Would you want an AI program to raise your kids? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't
either.
think so, right?
Yeah.
So I actually talking about science. They're the giants of science, right? Einstein,
All right.
Newton, you think AI can replace them? There are many people who are trying.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think the thing is to combine them. The term I use is AI plus X. So the X could be science, could be many other things I've talked about. So the plus is, if you put them together, it will allow them to do much more than each one can do on its own.
Okay.
So traditional engineering and science can use AI, but AI can also use ideas, inspiration from the other sciences to help them. The biggest advance in AI, right, is neural networks.
Okay.
Deep neural network. Well, where does that come from? Neural network, from the neurons in the brain.
Oh.
That's the inspiration.
Okay.
So, do we understand how the brain works? Not really. So, if we talk to the neuroscientists and they know about the brain and they can take their knowledge and help to develop better AI algorithm. So, for example, this I learned, but I'm not a neuroscientist. Neurons is not the largest number of cells in your brain.
Okay.
There are other cells, or glial cells, that are more numerous than neurons, and they play a role in how humans think. We don't know exactly understand why, but they your neurons, your glial cell, they support each other. So the brain is super efficient.
Okay.
The brain is like 10 or 20 watts. The supercomputer is megawatts.
Okay.
So how does the brain work? So if we figure that out, the neuroscientists may be able to tell the AI scientists how to develop better AI algorithms. As a scientist, that's what I hope. If I were active in research, that's what I'll be working on.
Okay. That would be your project.
For me
research.
personally, but I think at Kaost, if I can tell you a little bit about what we're trying to do at Kaost. So we have an AI initiative.
Okay.
That we started maybe a year to a year and a half ago. We recruit people. So, for example, we recruited Professor Jürgen Schmidhuber, who was a keynote speaker this morning.
Okay.
He is one of the fathers of machine learning from 20-some years ago. His students and former postdocs are working in DeepMind and Google, all these places. And he's now in Saudi Arabia. So we hire people, talent to come into Kaost to actually Saudi Arabia. They're here, they work. Second is we do education. So we are now teaching classes to general public, not just Kaost student. So we have short courses, a week. We take them to Riyadh and take them to Jeddah, not just in Saudi Arabia. We call the overall thing called Kaost Academy.
Okay.
It's an academy. So if you have a job, you say you're curious about AI, you can afford maybe 1 or 2 weeks. You want to learn more? Well, you can come to join this program. And it'll
foster your interest in
well, actually, you learn something technical, but it's not like a 4-year degree. Okay, that's the idea. So, and of course, the last thing is we do research.
Okay.
We want to advance the field of AI. We want Kaost and therefore Saudi Arabia to be known as not just using existing AI technology. We want to be developing the leading edge. That's what to be known, to be respected from around the world.
Okay.
Not just to buy the technology.
All
we
right.
want to invent the technology.
Okay.
We are doing that. So one of the things, the funding program we have at Kaost, we call it AI plus X. So if you're an AI person, you find something in the X.
All right.
The X could be physics, chemistry, could be petroleum, oil engineering, could be climate change, or a food production you put together, and then we'll give you some more funding to develop that. We're keeping our fingers crossed.
All right. Well, getting back to that equation, AI plus X. Let's say AI plus Kaost equals the Kaost Center for Artificial Intelligence.
Yes.
What are you guys up to in the center? What are your plans exactly?
Well, so I mentioned that a little bit. Hiring people, that's most important.
Okay.
Faculty and students and postdocs, advancing research, doing partnership, in the kingdom and broadly. So, for example, in partnership, we have a new Sdaya Kaost AI Research Center. Okay, that's just started, less than a year ago. Okay, we do research and training. Some of these courses I mentioned before was done in conjunction with Sdaya.
Okay.
We also have a partnership with Huawei. They are here. They make 5G. They make equipment. They are actually heavily into AI, but also into energy. Energy is a big thing, right? So we have partnership like that. We will sort of bring the rest of the world in this space into Saudi Arabia. We also want to bring Saudi Arabia to the rest of the world. So, for example, the many research conferences in AI, but only a few of them are the top ones. Maybe there are about 4.
Okay.
There's one called International Conference on Machine Learning. You can tell from the name. 10,000 people go. Okay. Once a year. So we are represented there. So Saudi Arabia is doing very well in those meetings. In fact, Saudi Arabia is like in several of these, in terms of the number of papers accepted to be presented, we're in the top 20.
Okay.
And a big part is because of Kaost. So we look at the paper, the people, most of those are coming from Kaost. We are very proud of that, but we are happy to be able to contribute to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So now people say, oh, AI, Saudi Arabia, they really have some top people there.
Okay.
So that's what we hope to do.
How do you feel that artificial intelligence is already, helping humanity?
Good question. We are a long way from it. So one of the biggest challenges facing humanity, maybe we start there, right? You know the UN Sustainability Development Goal. There are 17 of them.
Okay.
Yes. It's the 17, okay? I wear it all the time. Mm-hmm. It's about no poverty, no hunger, availability of water, accessibility to education for young people. We're doing terrible.
Yeah.
We're not even halfway. We're only it's good to have the goal, but we're a long way to go. So those are the challenges. So if AI can play a role in advancing these goals, there will be a huge contribution to humanity. And AI has a big potential because first of all, it advances the frontier, but also it democratizes the technology. Because, if you have a smartphone, you can benefit from AI. You don't need to buy a plane, right, to benefit from aviation. Okay?
Correct.
So I think that's the idea. And the other one is that it should help with equity, global equity. The very rich countries and rich people, they're the poor. Most of the world is very poor.
Yeah.
And they cannot afford, things, right? So AI, once you develop this and encapsulate it into a kind of technology, it can then benefit everybody. I mean, to me, that's what AI people should strive for, rather than to just have it benefit the elite. That's why I hope. And it has a potential.
That's a very interesting mindset and a very interesting take.
It is.
And this is all the time that we have for this interview. I'd like to thank you very much for taking the time to be with us.
Pleasure.
And we loved your input and feedback, Professor Tony. And
thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And that's all the time we have for this episode. Stay tuned for our next one.